Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tim and Tom's Film Nights. I'm Thomas, as you probably already guessed by now, and my dear old friend and colleague is Timothy. Tim, dear boy, how are we feeling tonight?
Well, Thomas, I must say I am rather peckish myself. Have you got any of that lovely tea brewing? The one with the, those little leaves in it? What's it called again? Ah, yes, the Earl Grey, my dear boy, the Earl Grey. That's what I'm talking about.
Ah, Timothy, you rascal. Always joking around. No, seriously though. Today, we have a real treat for you folks out there in Internetland. We're diving into the world of martial arts cinema with 2012's The Man with the Iron Fists. Now, Timothy, what do you say?
Well, Tom, I must say I was pleasantly surprised by this one. RZA did a fantastic job directing his first feature film, and he also managed to squeeze in quite a cast, didn't he? Russell Crowe, Kung Lei, Lucy Liu, Byron Mann, Rick Yoon. It's like watching an Asian version of Ocean's 11, only with more punching and kicking.
I mean, not that I'm complaining about the punching and kicking, mind you, but really, Timothy, you think this is better than Enter the Dragon? You know, the one with Bruce Lee? It's like comparing a Ferrari to well, let's say it's like comparing a Ferrari to a very fast bicycle.
No, Tom, I never said it was better than Enter the Dragon. But for its time and genre, I would argue that The Man with the Iron Fists is quite the achievement. It's like comparing a roast chicken dinner to, well, let's say it's like comparing a roast chicken dinner to a perfectly cooked filet mignon served on a gold platter by a trio of robot waiters while being judged by Wolfgang Puck himself.
Oh, you're just making things up now, aren't you? Anyway, I give it a solid 7 out of 10 stars. It's not Citizen Kane, but then again, what movie is? Plus, there was some pretty sweet fight scenes, especially that one with the... You know, that big guy who... No spoilers.
Well, Tom, dear chap, I must admit that it wasn't Citizen Kane either. But then again, neither was The Shawshank Redemption or Fight Club. And those are now considered cinematic masterpieces. But I digress. As a connoisseur of martial arts cinema, I would give this film an 8 out of 10 stars. RZA did a fantastic job blending the old school kung fu films with modern day action cinema. And the soundtrack by the legendary Wu-Tang Clan is just icing on the... Yeah, you get the idea. So, Thomas, dear boy, what do you make of M? Do we agree or disagree, eh?
Well, Timothy, dear chap, I must admit that while The Man with the Iron Fists may not reach the heights of a cinematic masterpiece like Citizen Kane or The Shawshank Redemption, it does indeed have some redeeming qualities. RZA, who both directed and starred in the film, did an admirable job blending old-school kung fu films with modern-day action cinema. He also managed to gather a rather impressive cast, including the likes of Russell Crowe, Kung Lei, Lucy Liu, Byron Mann, Rick Yoon, Dave Bautista, and even a cameo appearance by the legendary martial arts icon, Bruce Lee's actual daughter, Shannon Lee. The plot revolves around a small village called Jungle Village, which finds itself in peril due to the arrival of a ruthless warlord named the Man with the Iron Fists, played by actor, director, and martial artist Daniel Wu. The villagers must band together and form an unlikely alliance to defeat their common foe. Throughout the film, we witness various characters facing their own personal demons and finding redemption through selflessness and camaraderie, despite some criticisms of the storyline being somewhat cliché. I must admit that the film's greatest strength lies in its action sequences. The fight choreography is top-notch, featuring impressive martial arts skills and incredible stunt work. Some standout moments include a breathtaking battle on a moving train and an epic showdown between two of the film's most formidable characters, played by RZA and the late, great Hong Kong action legend, Jackie Chan. In conclusion, The Man with the Iron Fists may not be the greatest movie ever made, but for fans of martial arts cinema, it certainly delivers on thrills, laughter, and a good old-fashioned feel-good story about underdogs banding together to save their home. So, Timothy, my dear fellow Briton, what are your thoughts on this little gem?
Well, Thomas, I must say, as an avid fan of martial arts cinema myself, I always find it fascinating to learn about the behind-the-scenes process of it. Creating such action-packed masterpieces like The Man with the Iron Fist, now according to my trusty sources. RZA was reportedly so dedicated to making the fight scenes as realistic as possible that he insisted on performing most of his own stunts.
Now,
I know we've seen this before in films like The Matrix or even the aforementioned Enter the Dragon. But what truly sets this film apart is the use of practical effects and minimal CG. In fact, the fight scene aboard the moving train was reportedly filmed at actual train tracks in China. Now, I know you're not one for spoilers, Tom, dear chap. So let me just say that this attention to detail really shines through in the final product. The use of practical effects adds a layer of authenticity that is often lost in modern day action films, where CG has become the go-to solution for everything. It's refreshing to see a filmmaker like RZA, who is also an accomplished martial artist himself, pushing the boundaries of what can be achieved with real stunts and practical effects. So, Thomas, dear boy, what do you make of this little tidbit about The Man with the Iron Fists? Do you agree that the use of AM, practical effects, and minimal CG adds to the film's overall charm?
Well, Timothy, dear chap, I must admit that the use of practical effects and minimal CG does, indeed, add a layer of authenticity to The Man with the Iron Fists. It's refreshing to see a filmmaker like RZA, who is also an accomplished martial artist himself, pushing the boundaries of what can be achieved with real stunts and practical effects. However, I must confess that my attention was somewhat diverted during certain scenes by some rather obvious green screens in the background. But then again, who am I to nitpick when we have such a talented cast delivering top-notch performances? Speaking of which, let's talk about our two lead characters, The Man with the Iron Fists and Lady Silk. RZA plays the titular role with a mix of stoicism and vulnerability that makes us root for him throughout the film, while Lucy Liu shines as Lady Silk, a former courtesan-turned-warrior who brings both beauty and brawn to every scene she appears in. Their chemistry is palpable, and, their shared backstory adds depth to their relationship. In conclusion, while The Man with the Iron Fists may not be perfect, its strengths far outweigh its weaknesses. The action sequences are breathtaking, the performances are top-notch, and, the storyline, although somewhat cliched, is engaging enough to keep us hooked until the end credits roll. So, Timothy, my dear friend, what do you make of these observations? Do we agree or disagree on this little gem from RZA's filmography?
Well, Tom, dear chap, I must admit that I completely agree with your assessment of The Man with the Iron Fists. As his performance as the titular character is truly impressive, and his chemistry with Lucy Liu is undeniable. As for the green screens, I suppose we can forgive a few minor imperfections when considering the sheer scale of this project. And let us not forget that this was his first feature film. I mean, who would have thought that a man best known for his work in hip-hop and as part of the legendary Wu-Tang Clan could also direct a martial arts masterpiece like this? It just goes to show that talent knows no bounds. But enough about RZA. Let's talk about our favorite scene, shall we? Thomas, my dear fellow Briton, which was your favorite fight sequence in The Man with the Iron Fists? Was it the train battle, or perhaps the epic duel between RZA and Jackie Chan?
Well, Timothy, dear chap, I must admit that it's difficult to choose just one favorite fight sequence in The Man with the Iron Fists. As an avid fan of martial arts cinema, I found myself enthralled by each and every action-packed scene. If I had to pick a top contender for my personal favorites list, it would have to be the breathtaking battle aboard the moving train. The stunt work was simply mind-blowing, and the way RZA and his team utilized the train's various compartments and corridors added an extra layer of realism to the already incredible fight choreography. But I must also give a shout-out to the epic showdown between RZA and Jackie Chan. The chemistry between these two martial arts legends was appreciable, and their respective styles complemented each other seamlessly. It's moments like these that remind us why we fell in love with action cinema in the first place, pure, unadulterated adrenaline rush delivered through awe-inspiring martial arts prowess. Now, Timothy, dear chap, let's talk about one of my favorite supporting characters, the enigmatic and deadly assassin played by Byron Mann. His character's backstory is shrouded in mystery, adding to his mystique throughout the film. Mann delivers a performance that exudes menace and danger with every subtle movement, making his brief appearances on screen all the more memorable. What about you, Timothy, dear chap? Who was your favorite character in The Man with the Iron Fists, and why?
Well, Tom, dear chap, I must say that one of the aspects that truly stood out for me about The Man with the Iron Fists is its unique blend of Eastern and Western cinema. RZA clearly drew inspiration from classic Hong Kong action films, particularly those directed by masters like Bruce Lee or John Woo. However, he managed to infuse these tried-and-true tropes with a modern touch that makes the film feel fresh and original. The use of slow-motion close-ups, fast cuts, and dramatic camera angles borrowed from Hollywood's action movie playbook, but it never feels forced or out of place. Instead, RZA masterfully weaves these disparate elements together to create a visually stunning cinematic tapestry that is both homage and homage. The soundtrack is equally impressive, combining traditional Chinese instruments with hip-hop beats and hard rock riffs to create an intense and immersive sonic landscape. It's as if RZA took the best of East and West, melted them together, and created something truly new and exciting. And let's not forget the iconic characters that populate the film, from the enigmatic Master Wu played by legendary martial arts icon Bruce Lee himself to the mysterious assassin played by Byron Mann. Each character is carefully crafted with a rich backstory and complex motivations, adding layers of depth to the already engaging narrative. In a conclusion, The Man with the Iron Fists is a testament to RZA's talent as an actor, director, and musician. He managed to pay homage to the genre while carving out his own unique niche in the world of martial arts cinema. The film's action sequences are top-notch, the performances are award-worthy, and the storytelling is simply breathtaking. It's no wonder that this underrated gem has developed a cult following among fans of the genre. So, Tom, dear chap, do you agree with my assessment? Have I managed to convince you of the artistic brilliance hidden within the punches and kicks of The Man with the Iron Fists?
Well, has been thoroughly refuted by The Man with Iron Fists. This film is a masterful blend of Eastern and Western cinema, paying homage to the classic Hong Kong action films while carving out its own unique niche in the world of martial arts cinema. RZA's attention to detail, both in terms of storytelling and action sequences, is truly impressive, particularly considering this was his first feature film. The performances by the cast are equally commendable, with RZA himself delivering a nuanced portrayal of a man burdened by his past but determined to reclaim his future. Lucy Liu as Lady Silk adds layers of depth and complexity to their shared backstory, while Byron Mann's enigmatic assassin remains one of the most memorable supporting characters in recent action movie history. As for the film's weaknesses, if any can be found at all, they are mere nitpicks in an otherwise near-perfect film. The use of green screens in some scenes could have been more seamless, and perhaps the storyline may seem somewhat cliche to those unfamiliar with martial arts cinema. But as an avid fan of the genre myself, I found these minor imperfections insignificant compared to the film's many strengths. In conclusion, The Man with Iron Fists is a must-watch for fans of action martial arts and cinema in general. RZA has proven himself a force to be reckoned with both behind and in front of the camera, And this film serves as a testament to his talent and vision. So please, dear viewers, do yourself a favor and seek out the man with iron fists. Pop some popcorn, settle into your favorite comfy chair, and prepare yourself for an adrenaline-pumping journey through the world of martial arts cinema. And don't forget to comment, subscribe, and like this video if you enjoyed our humble discussion. Good day, and stay tuned for more exciting content from Timothy and Thomas.